Now, President Akufo-Addo has tasked the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture and the Ghana Tourism Authority to revamp their promotion activities to achieve the target of 2 million international arrivals by the end of this year. That, he said, will result in the corresponding earnings of some $4 billion to the national economy. In addition to the thousands of jobs to be created along the tourism value chain, President Akufo-Addo at a presidential summit on tourism last year said he was confident that the objective can be achieved. Well, joining me with an outlook for 2024 is Emmanuel Frimpong, who is president of the Africa Tourism Research Network. Good afternoon, Happy New Year to you. How would you assess the tourism sector's performance last year?
Well, good afternoon. Happy New Year, Daryl. The tourism and hospitality industry last year did quite well. We don't have the figures yet, but if you look at the first quarter figures that was published by the Ghana Tourism Authority, it showed the sector had done well. The second, third, and then the last quarter, which is September to December, where we had December and GH, we saw a number of people that came into the country. We don't know the figures yet, so we hope the numbers might have reached the number that we're expecting, or probably beyond it. But in all, I think the industry did well last year. So going into 2024, I'm sure you've raised some questions about the target that was set by the president. So we will look into that as you ask your questions.
So the government is looking at revamping the sector. It is pumping some monies into renovating some tourist sites. It's targeting 2 million international tourist arrivals and $4 billion in earnings. Is that realistic?
I would say the figures are realistic. We should be able to get more than 2 million international arrivals into the country. That one is realistic, it's possible. 4 billion revenue, yes, we should be able to get that. But the question is, what have we done to be able to entice or get people to come, and done to be able to prepare people to come to invest, to actually put that money into the economy? So that is where the challenge is. We haven't done much. After the presidential summit at Peduase Lodge, I haven't cited any report on how we are going to do that. And then if you look at what we are supposed to do as a sector, we have what we call a public-private partnership forum, which is supposed to take place every quarter. We haven't been able to do that for some time now. So on the ground, I don't see what we have done so far to be able to attract that 2 million international arrivals.
Well, for the presidency to hold a summit on this should tell us they are serious about it. At least they've held a program to talk about it. So question is, what would it take to achieve those targets? What do you propose?
Well, so if you look at what the presidency or this government has done in terms of looking at tourism, how tourism can help, I think there has been some interest and some commitment. But on the ground, because if the president calls for a presidential summit and it's done, what happens to the agency that is supposed to also make sure that all the things that were discussed, we go ahead, sit down to look at the implementation? That has always been the problem. So if we are not able to sit down to look at the nitty-gritty of how we are going to implement it, then we all go to sleep. Nothing will happen. We will still come back next year, talk about targets. 2023, we had all these targets set. Which of them were we able to achieve? I'm not sure we're able to. Till we sit down to look at, okay, this is what we want to do to achieve all these set targets. We'll talk about it, come back, and nothing will be done. That has been the problem.
I mean,
so if you ask me, what should we do to be able to Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Make your point.
Yes. So if you ask me, what should we do to be able to achieve this? I think we have documents enough, or we have sat down to strategize enough. What we need to do is to look at how do we implement it? How do we get the private sector? If you take the hotels, if you take the car rentals, if you take the restaurants, if you take the food vendors, the traditional caterers, and all the other tour operators, we need to sit down with each group and find out, okay, we want to achieve a target of employment in this sector. What can you do to help us achieve this target? Okay, we are giving you to achieve a target of 200. Area you can do to attract people who come and invest. And then we look at all the sectors, we sit down and discuss it. Then we have a team. I don't know if it is a GTA or we put all resources together and set up a team that will make sure that we are looking at implementation, monitoring, evaluation. And then also what we need to do is to decentralize the operations of the ministry or Ghana Tourism Authority. Let's resource the regional offices of GTA. Let's resource the district. If we have district offices, let's resource them. Let every district bring an idea region. If we are that, let's involve the MCEs. Let's involve opinion leaders, chiefs. Let's get all of them involved. If we are able to do that, then we'll be able to achieve more than what we are doing. But what we see now, almost everything is centralized, and then we deprive the regions, the districts of what they can also do to contribute, and that is not helping. And of course, we also have a problem with poor quality service. The quality service customer care in Ghana and in the hospitality and tourism industry is poor. How are we training people in these areas? We are not doing much, and that has to be tackled.
I mean, one of the things the government also wants to promote is youth-led tourism enterprises. I think we had a conversation about that sometime last year. How would that potentially impact the tourism industry, do you think, finally?
Sorry, I didn't get a question. What the government did?
Yeah, I mean, I was just talking about one of the other things the government wants to do to improve the tourism sector, and that is to promote youth-led tourism enterprises. I was just asking how that would impact on government's overall target of making $4 billion at the end of the year.
Darrell, if we are able to do that, I have worked with young people since 1996 when I went to the university. Ghanaian young people, young men and women have fantastic ideas. Just this morning, I was talking to a young man who has developed something in the tourism and hospitality sector. And yesterday, I was also engaging a young man who is also he contacted me on esports, the ideas that this guy has on esports. Together to nurture that idea, right? Just this week, African Tourism Research Network appointed somebody to be responsible for women and youth in tourism development and skills. So we need to bring these young people together to harness the ideas that they have. They have fantastic ideas, but they have nowhere to go to. They have nobody to motivate, nobody to help them. And we need to have some sort of entrepreneurship hubs around certain areas where these young people can go there. Some people will mentor them, help them to bring these ideas into fruition.
All right.
And trust me, if we are able to do that, give them resources, we'll be able to achieve more than what we've set for ourselves.
Thank you so much for speaking with us, President of the Africa Tourism Research Network, Emmanuel Frimpong. I appreciate your time and Happy New Year once again.